the guidance from the government is that the employer is still liable to pay wages when the contract says wages are due to be paid, and that the government will then reimburse employers for that. I'm aware that there are some employers who, for cash flow reasons, are simply not in a position to pay people their salaries now and then claim the money back from the government in what could be several weeks. The indications that I last heard were that the scheme should be up and running in terms of the online portal at some point in mid to late April, but that was about a week ago I heard that. I don't know whether there's been any updates on that, but that's the indication as to the timescale before the portal's even up and running. In terms of the employee's rights, well, if you're furloughed, you're entitled to 80% of your salary up to a cap of £2,500 a month. That, under your contract, ought to be payable on the date that you normally get paid. If your employer doesn't pay you on that date, then potentially your employer is in breach of contract. The question then is, well, what can you do about that? Well, in normal times, one thing you might be looking at doing is raising a grievance, or even considering constructive dismissal, resigning and claiming constructive dismissal. Obviously, these are not normal times. And if your employer does have cash flow problems, and it's a genuine situation that they do have cash flow problems, then resigning and claiming constructive dismissal might not be the best thing to do. But advice for employers in that situation is, if you are having difficulty in paying the wages because you're waiting for the money to come through from the government, speak to your banks. Now, I appreciate the banks might not be able to help every employer on that, but if you speak to your banks and say, look, we've got an obligation to pay the staff, but we will have the money coming through from the government shortly, they may be able to get loans from the banks to cover that.